Do-do-do-boo-boo.
All right, here we go. Get ready to have a good time. This is exciting, isn't it?
All right, we're on.
Hello, testing.
Welcome aboard the Dreamliner.
It's the only way to fly.
I've allotted 1 hour for recreational activity. There's no time for irrelevant conversation. Fun will now commence.
Garry.
Here's a young speaker who is really in demand.
Don't let that go to your head, Garry.
But wait, there's more.
That's what I'm talking about.
He is Garry Meier.
3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Friday, June 17th, 2022 edition of the Garry Meier Show Cocktail Hour Live. Cocktails, woo, drinks. Though here at the GarrForce, we strive to be entirely live. Sometimes scheduling requires pre-recording interviews. And this week, Gary's chat with Shaahin Cheyene was pre-recorded. Time for some friendly reminders. Wheels Up time every week is 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central. This Sunday is Father's Day. This is a cocktail hour, so the show contains adult themes and language that may not be suitable for all audiences and ages. Viewer discretion is advised. Of course, no matter where you are, it's time for a digital mimosa. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Our preferred streaming platform is the GarrForce Live YouTube channel. When you subscribe there, hit the bell icon to be notified when we're live. Like and share the show on all the social media channels, and know that during our live show, we can see your comments on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, which means we may show them on the screen and or talk about them. Now, fasten your seatbelts. It's time to go wheels up on the GarrForce Live.
Thank you, Alan Delinka. Welcome, one and all, to the Cocktail Show. Let's kick the tires and light them up. Let's see what that looks like, and we'll be wheels up. There they are. Burn them up. There they go. Okay, we are going to have fun until our daddy takes the cocktail cart away. And speaking of daddies, as Alan mentioned there, this is Father's Day weekend. I want to be your daddy tonight. And I'll try to comfort you in any way I can. And this is the third season of the Cocktail Show. It has been picked up for the third season by the PBC, the Podcasting Broadcasting Company. And we're excited to get into this third season. A week from today, the official bartender of the Cocktail Show, Jenna Duddleston, will be with us to get us ready for the 4th of July, which I can't believe. That's not too far off. And I don't want to hear this. You hear this from people. Summer's half over on the 4th of July, and the daylight's getting shorter. If I hear that, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start drinking. Okay, so that's coming up next Friday. And as you also heard in the opening, my guest today will be Shaahin Cheyene. And he came here from Iran with the American dream in his noggin. And what did he accomplish? Sold drugs. Drugs are bad, but they're herbal that he was selling. So those drugs aren't as bad. We'll talk to Shaahin in the second half hour of the show. Want to bring in the lovely Leslie Kyling and her bottle.
Aren't a lot of drugs herbal? I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Like opium, marijuana.
Cocaine comes from a plant. Yes, they all come from plants. What's wrong with them?
It's from Mother Earth, man.
That's right. That is it. And by the way, Shane's book, Billion, How I Became King of the Thrill Pill Cult. How about that? Woo-hoo. Wait till you hear him. He's I like having people from other countries come here and then tell me what they think, because we take things for granted. And we should not do that, no matter how bad things are. Look around, folks. It could be a lot worse. Okay, let's roll that.
Can you imagine the letters he writes to Oma back in the old country? I'm doing very well here in America, Oma, or whatever you call your Iranian grandma. And I have developed a new product. I'm an inventor, and you would be so proud of me.
Yes, and I'm very popular in the rave scene here in Los Angeles.
I've made a lot of friends.
and a lot of money. What a great country. La, 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 America. All right.
Death to America, except my grandson.
No, not death. No. They say that because they know we have a lot of good stuff. Oh, let's pop the condom and get it started because I got a lot to talk about here.
Okay, so I
Look at the
bought some
tip.
bubbly. I did some Prosecco today. So we have
Ooh.
we're gonna go galactic on this one,
Yeah.
I think. So
Okay, here it goes. Rolling it, and there it is.
Oh,
It popped.
it
did.
did pop. That was cool.
Yeah.
And I have an appropriate glass for the situation.
That's good. You don't want to be inappropriate here. And I heard at the beginning, and Alan did exactly what we thought he would. He took stuff out of the Monday through Thursday shows and made it sound dirty. He did.
That, in fact, was a talking garbage can in Sweden, I believe.
Yes.
Malmo. Yeah. And when you put garbage in, it talks dirty to you.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. But out of context, it just sounds like we're talking dirty. Okay. I have to say hello to some people. How's the Prosecco?
Oh, tasty.
Good. And I got my main Manhattan.
Cheers, y'all.
Yeah. Okay. So some of the people that have checked in. Hey, by the way, just a little programming note. Keith R. Conrad is producing the show. Alan is on assignment at Disney World. You never find him there. He lives I think he has a tunnel from his house right to Disney World. He doesn't even have to go outside, and he's there because he has friends from out of town, and he's entertaining them at Disney World. And Keith has moved up to the director's chair. Hello, Keith.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Good. Couple things. I asked Keith to part with the GarrForce blanket, and he very reluctantly did that. That was one of the gifts last week. Is that in the mail already?
It is. It's not even behind me.
I know it's not. It's gone. And I know you really wanted it, but you were nice enough to give it up. And I want to mention that Keith also has a podcast, and I've watched that a number of times with a good friend of ours, Dan Levy. And what do you two do? I know what you do, but tell everybody.
Well, I've been doing show prep for a number of radio hosts over the years. Some of them I still talk to, like you, and some of them I don't get along with so well anymore. But that's beside the point. And I kind of miss doing it once I got into doing like all angry political stuff for my day job, and so I just started kind of doing it again as like a Substack newsletter thing. So then Dan was like, "Hey, let's just take the highlights of it and do a little streaming thing every week." So that's what we do.
Yeah, and Dan and Keith and I all work together, and Leslie, you did too with Dan, and he's a great guy, and I'm glad to see you two got together and are doing some magic on the internets. And what we want to do, Keith, is put that Keely Ann text up because that official. I mean, we have so many official starts to the show.
Yeah,
this is another one. How hot was it? It was so hot that my schnauzer stuck to the patio chair whilst dining al fresco.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where that blanket would come in handy under your schnauzer.
Oh, that would be a good use.
Yes. Yes, I love my logo under the schnauz. I have no problem with that at all. Here's who else has checked in. Charles from Lakeville, Illinois. He is a DJ. He is a brother in sound at WRLR. And he sends me a lot of stories every day. And Chuck, I really appreciate that. And you're gold. You're gold in the GarrForce. The rural? He works on rural, RLR, rural. Martin from British Columbia, always on board every Friday. Have you ever been to British Columbia, Leslie?
I have not.
Beautiful. Oh my God, that whole western part of Canada, Vancouver, British Columbia.
As a matter of fact, my parents are there right now.
Oh.
On vacay?
Yeah, they're just departing on a 3-week Alaskan cruise. So
yeah,
it's basically the first time they've left the house since COVID. So we're very excited.
That's how I discovered British Columbia on a cruise. We did our show from Princess Cruise's line at that time, which was the print out or whatever. We were on the ship, And that's how I went to British Columbia, and it was magnificent, and Vancouver, and we went up into the Panhandle there in Alaska.
You mean it wasn't because you were trying to avoid the draft, huh? Because that's the word on the
No,
street right
no,
now.
this was
Okay,
many years after that whole Vietnam thing had faded.
got it.
What's David Erickson's story? Oh no, not Keith. He never puts my comments up. I
Oh,
don't think Keith controls the comments. You just
I-
right?
yeah.
He controls, if you want to speak on the show, you have to go through Keith through the text line, yes. But I don't think he'd block you for any reason. David,
As
we don't-
evidenced by the fact that you're up there on the screen
Yeah,
right this
I
very minute.
you're up there. He put you on the big screen, and you're saying he blocks you. Interesting. Okay. David R. from Oak Lawn, Illinois. Lloydster, who thought Keith had only one hand. And Marianne, New Lenox, Illinois. Or do you like classic Lenox? Brian is on his patio. Deb is in Des Plaines, Illinois. Stephen is in Palos Park, Illinois. Donna, and now I go to the screen door. If it's right. Is
No.
it?
No.
Damn screen door. I gotta paint an arrow on here. Doug 847 and Chris says hello to everyone. Doug is an old Lennox. He's like the classic Lennox type guy.
Sure.
Okay. And who else is Doug is checking in many times. I'm here. Hey now, old Lennox, LOL. Tina.
You say hi to Tracy and Kathleen.
Yeah, Rockford, Illinois. And who else do you see on the screen there, Leslie?
Scott Brown checking our tires and fires. Let's see who else is up here.
All right.
Johnny from Michigan checked in early. We were talking about him in the pre-show. I think
Yes.
Johnny got some teeth work done.
Yeah, he texted me. He was getting his tooth fixed that he broke when he was eating some peanut butter ice cream. I think that was the case. And then he texted me he was going to McDonald's the other day in Michigan, and he was attending some other event. It was a whole day for Johnny because Johnny is out and about. And I want Johnny to do a Michigan report. Please, Johnny, just tape 60 seconds and we'll play it because you're always doing something. All right.
And he does it on a budget. I mean, an amazing budget.
Yeah, he lives well on almost nothing. It's pretty impressive. And Leslie will have some stories coming up here, and we'll give away a condom and something else out of the fun bag, which she will reveal when
bag's right
now.
here. Oh, should
Now,
I guess. What do we? Oh,
What is
look
it?
what came out? Okay, it's a grow a girlfriend. This is for adults only. So you kids out there, you're going to have to sit on your hands during the giveaway. You put her in water and she grows 6 times her original size.
yes,
So you can grow a girlfriend.
grow one. Why don't you grow a girlfriend, huh? And that will go with the wine condom. That is a nice little gift.
Oh, and there, the wine
And
condom's
there
right
it
there.
is, hermetically sealed. Good, good, good. Okay, and what we do is we'll give you a phrase to put up in the text area, and then the computer will pick randomly the winner. And if you've won, please let somebody else win. That's only
Yeah.
fair, right?
Yeah, we like to spread the wealth around, especially when
Okay.
we're giving away something like a grow your own girlfriend. I mean,
You just put
come
that in
on.
water and it just expands.
I think it's like the dinosaurs that they have for children. But yeah, she looks like she might be spongy. She
Yes.
also looks like she may have she got high heels on. I thought maybe she had foot problems, but no, she got high heels on. And
It's not a, I know those things are towels and they're very compressed and you put them in water and then you have a full bath towel. This is something else.
she's a sponge. That's what her previous boyfriend said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have her. I'm tired of her being a sponge, damn it. Okay. So what's going to happen here? We usually do the guest in the first half hour, but because I pre-recorded it, we're going to put that in the second half hour and do all our business here, and do what we do usually spread out throughout the show.
Well, you
And
want to lay a base when you're talking about ecstasy and party drugs.
yeah,
And
we want to come to that and then have that be the big splash at the end. The big drugs are bad, but he's selling them anyway, or was. I don't know. I don't think he's selling Herbal Ecstacy anymore. but that was his entry into America in his teens.
I believe that was the shampoo I used as a youth. That Herbal
Herbal
Ecstasy.
Ecstasy? Yeah.
Yeah, it smelled
Oh.
really good.
Oh, and I just wanted to dance when I was in the shower.
Should we do drugs as the phrase that pays?
Yeah, I think we should. I really do.
That
I
should
think
be
we
easy
should.
enough.
And when you want, put hashtag drugs in the text, and then the computer will do its business. Before we get to that, and you might be the owner of a 6 times that size spongy woman. Before all that, I have some pictures I want to share with you, and I want to bring Ryan in to join the conversation because he's going to present.
I'm reading my phone book. Sorry.
Reading your
Sorry.
phone book that you got.
Yeah. I was looking under Ace Drapery. I was looking for some drapery.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm here.
And make sure the drapes match the carpeting, because
absolutely.
Which leads me to this. Did you see this, Leslie? The Christina Aguilera photo that
you mean her costume for Pride
LA
Festival?
Pride
happening
there, and Christina performing, and I like when the strap-on matches the outfit. I think that's really chic.
I don't think Christina knows what family friendly means, because this was a family friendly event.
Seriously?
Wow.
Yeah. So I can only imagine the discussions that took place in the cars on the way home.
Yeah.
Mom, what
Christina. Damn it. So Ryan found that. Thanks for sharing. And he also found a list of baby boomer phrases that are pretty much gone now. And if you're of a certain age, you might remember these. Hacked off, groovy, lay a patch. That was peeling out.
Yeah, it
what's your bag? What's pediddle? I don't remember that.
A game counting burned out headlights. So if you're going on a road trip at night, you find the cars with the burnout headlights.
Wow, this is what happens without the internet. This is what our entertainment was. Drop a dime, let's make a phone call. Boob tube, television. Chrome dome, a bald guy.
That's right.
Right?
Very good.
Yeah.
Excuse me. What does lay a patch mean?
When you peel out.
Burnout.
Yeah, when you hit the gas and you lay a patch. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Groovy. I get it now.
Is that all of them?
That was the main ones I'm looking.
Boy, we really had a vocabulary, didn't we?
Moo juice.
What is it?
Moo juice for milk.
Ooh, wow.
Kicks for shoes. Something
kicks, yeah. Nice pair of kicks.
Yeah.
All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, they better. Sorry.
There you go. Yeah.
But
so I saw this on the
question. Drop a dime. I mean, there are people who will never understand what that means.
Yes,
it's like telling younger people that they sound like a broken record, and it's like, what?
What's a record? Yeah, there was a thing called the Payphone, and you put coins in it, and that would activate your phone call, because we didn't have cell phones. And I did that experiment. I talked about this, and it was my last time with the Payphone. I was trying to go as long as I could without a cell phone. I went, I think, a year or two. I know, and this was not that long ago.
No, I remember this.
Here was the end of it. I had to pick somebody up at the airport. Now you're in that, how am I going to coordinate? Because you can't park in front of the airport until they're there. And I had to time things out by finding a payphone about 5 blocks from the airport and put the coin in to see, because they had a cell phone. They weren't doing the experiment. And to see if they were walking towards the exit of the airport, and put the coin in, no dial tone. And when you hang up, your coin comes into the coin slot. You get it back. Hang up. I hear the dropping of the coin, and I put my finger in the coin return, and there was Google in there. And I thought, experiment is over. Yeah. How did we live? First of all, think about this. We put these filthy phones up to our ears all the time, our fingers in the coin slot. And you know what kind of people do the phone.
I remember having to use a payphone on the toll highway system, and there was a a general smell of urine inside
Yes,
those phone booths all the
Yes,
time.
they were basically outhouses.
Rest stops. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what people used them for. So we're so lucky, first of all, to be at America, number one, America, and cell phones.
Oh, God.
So that's the drop a dime. And it was a dime, and then it went to a quarter. And then depending on how far you were calling, I mean, it's very primitive now.
We used them in high school to get rides. We'd do a collect call to home. They wouldn't accept the collect call, but they'd say, "Oh, that's okay. Ryan's ready to be picked up." So that's how we used
that was your code.
That was the code.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. We sound like
and I'm not that
thousands of years ago.
Yeah, and I'm not that old, but that's what we did. Payphones.
Well, we had the story, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, where the last payphone in downtown Manhattan finally shut down. And it had been getting regularly used up until that point.
Okay,
so
let's continue this discussion with public drinking fountains. I don't see many of those anymore. But think about that concept. Even worse than the payphone, the public drinking fountain. And in Chicago, I remember the water would just continuously run. You didn't have to turn it would just run. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a good use of water.
The big concrete ones where they had like 4 or 5 spigots.
Right. And the water would just run all day.
Okay. And in the summer, we kids would sit on those because if you sat on one, you could make the other ones go up. It would change the pressure. And then not realizing that our little bottoms were now exactly where other people were placing their legs.
Yes.
Think about that.
I'm going to piggyback on your piggyback. And as the late, great Paul Harvey would say, bidet?
Okay. That's where they came up with the idea. Right?
Yes. Because we don't, and bidets still haven't caught on here. They're all over other countries. And the first time I saw one, I thought, what? This toilet is broken. It's missing something.
And during the early days of the pandemic, we thought that was going to be one of the game changers when we ran out of toilet paper because some of you people were hoarding and you probably still have some out in the garage.
Yep.
We figured everybody would then switch to bidets, but I don't think so.
Okay. Here's my story. I'm in a public park in Chicago on a summer day, just sitting and enjoying the moment. And a bum goes up to that public drinking fountain and he's got a towel and he takes it and puts it right up on the nozzle and gets it all wet. And then he puts it in his pants and does a "How's your father?" You know what that is? A floss. Yeah. And then
that should have been on
it.
Ryan's list.
That's right.
How's your father? Yeah.
Yes.
And rinses it. And that's the last time I thought I'll ever put my face near a public fountain. I don't see many of them. Do you see many anymore? I think they just figured nobody's going to use these anymore.
And during the pandemic, the ones that were at different locations got shut down.
There is one in Oregon, Illinois, where my parents live, Iron Mike. And they just got relocated over the pandemic and it's back open. So you can drink out of it and there's a space for horses and dogs.
It's got a name?
Iron Mike, yes.
Okay.
Wow.
And if you remember, if the water wasn't continuously running, there was a handle and the pressure it just dribbled out of the tip. So you really have to put your mouth on the nozzle. And people did. Right?
Yum.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. They still do. After the show, they might think twice. But
hey, I just noticed. Look in the comments section.
I see that.
What is that?
Bonsoir, mes chéris. It's français.
Is somebody from France is checking in?
Yes, someone named Marguerite Suman.
Marguerite, welcome. America.
There it is.
I mean, All right, Leslie,
she is the mother of 3 children, I believe. My français is not.
Is she asking for money in there somewhere? Is this one of those?
No, du premier enfant, something about her babies.
Okay. Marguerite, grab a drink and enjoy. This is what we do in America. We have fun on Fridays. Yeah. We don't beg for money I don't even know what that is. I apologize if she wasn't. I don't know what's going on.
It looks like somebody abandoned her with 2 little
okay, here
infants.
We go. All right.
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Please send money, Garry.
All we can do, Marguerite, is tell you to put #drugs in the comment section. Then maybe you'll win a condom and a blow-up doll. That's all we can do for your help.
Gal.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
You can leave the kids with her.
Of filth, Keith, do you want to share my other photo that I have?
Where did you find this?
It was on the internet. Someone posted about cleaning or someone's kitchen they haven't had time to clean. There it is. Where's Waldo? Look at that.
Oh, come on. No. I don't care how little time you have. That's just disgusting.
We lose Garry?
Unless you happen to be one of our listeners. In that case, it's fine if you want to do that in your own home. Where, Garry?
Hey, you can imagine that the rest of the place looks like dog shit too. I mean, that's just not the kitchen. You know that.
That's heavy.
Right. Look at that. Oh my God.
So what, you just keep using until you run out of dishes and then you finally have to get paper plates, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's a test of the dishwashing system there.
For those of us who are super anal in the crowd, that is anti-chubby.
Yes, that should go to your anti-chubby list, Garry.
There's an anti-chubby list. That's on it. Holy crap. All right.
Okay.
Keith, I sent you some pictures too that I want to talk about. And if you could put one up, anyone will discuss. Okay, this tombstone has run into some headwinds because the family put phrases on the tombstone where the left letters all line up to say "fuck off."
Oh,
yeah,
saying that
because that's the phrase that their father used, and it was in the best of terms and just a happy, hey, fuck off, yeah, that kind of thing. And they put it on the tombstone, and now the cemetery is not happy.
Oh, come on. That's
pretty
benign.
It looks like it's pixelated out in this photo, right?
I can't tell what the K line is, but it's forever in our hearts until we meet again. Cherished memories, something.
Yeah. But it when it reads down in a vertical way, it says fuck off or something, or fuck it or something. But that's pretty funny. Okay. And next. Okay, this is a sad story. It's got a happy ending. They found this car with, I believe, Keith, do you know how many cats? You sent me this story.
It's actually 47 cats.
47 cats. Here's the sad story. The guy lost his home and he had to live in his car and he didn't want to leave his cats. So he put them all in the car. And then somebody saw it and it was really hot out and they called the police. So the police came and now they're trying to get them put somewhere in the adoption process. But look at, it's really sad. It's not one of those cases, we're going to hear about those where people put their animal in the car and then go shopping. Not that. This was a legitimate guy lost his home and wanted to take his cats with him. And that's what happened.
Good for him. He didn't just leave him there to die, you know.
No. That was not the case. Yeah. And they're trying to get him adopted.
And that's a cool thing. A lot more rescue agencies are realizing that some people go through rough patches and the last thing they need to do on top of losing everything else is lose their pets. So they will foster them out for a while until you get back on your feet and then try and reunite you. And that seems like the nicest way to handle this situation.
Yeah. So that is not the usual story of I left my kid in the car and then I went shopping for an hour and it was 95 degrees out. No, it's not of that nature. So,
but generally speaking, 2 cats, cool. 4 cats, even in some cases. 47, even on a good day, is a little excessive.
Even if you are in your home, yes, that's a lot. Right, of
that's what I'm thinking. And you have great income. That's a lot of cat boxes. It's people are going to notice when they open the door that you have cats. I'm pretty sure.
How many do you have, Leslie?
2.
That's manageable. Yes.
That's manageable.
All right, Keith, next picture. Look at this. We talked about this. Somebody designed this airline seat configuration, and you got to be kidding me. Who would sit on that bottom tier like that?
This makes it look even more painful. I gather having neck braces isn't such a bad thing, but they look like they're in distress and they're not even real.
No, Really, they're giving off a vibe like, get me the fuck out of here. Stop coming up with ways to make the seating more, what I'm like, more fucked up. I'm sorry.
I think technically, yes.
Yeah.
Let's just jam as many humans as we can. But okay, so now you're putting more humans on the plane.
Right.
Mind you, they had to do away with in-flight magazines and all that other stuff to save
because of
fuel.
the weight. Yes.
So what else are they going to get rid of?
Well, something's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get up to go to the bathroom when you're in the lower section all the way in? You don't.
Everybody has to just kind of scoot off to the side, and then on the top deck, you have to jump down in order to stand up. So
yeah, that's great.
That's good.
That's great. Is that all the pictures, Keith?
Yeah, that's all of them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Let us pay homage to the fine sponsors of the GarrForce. And there's a special add-on on this first sponsor. Let's hear from Bettenhausen Automotive.
Make every day a Freedom Day with a great deal from Bettenhausen Jeep on 159th Street in Tinley Park. Right now, during Jeep Freedom Days, get 0% financing on your new Jeep. Lease a new 2022 Jeep Compass Latitude 4x4 for $259 per month, or a new 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee for $369 per month. Bettenhausen Jeep is Chicagoland's Jeep headquarters. Your best Jeep buying experience starts now, 24/7 at BettenhausenCDJR.com.
And here to confirm all of those things you saw on the screen, no hassle, no salespeople, one low price. Leslie and her husband, Tim, picked up their car from Bettenhausen today. They bought a used car. She showed me a picture of this car. It looks brand new because they get the creme de la creme of used cars.
Yeah.
It smells new still?
Oh, my God, yeah. Leather interior, it's got all the bells and whistles, and it was such a painless shopping experience. Heads up to anybody who goes to their used car lot, which is on 159th, just down the street from the other dealership at 94th Avenue. We dealt with Jose Silva, and he was just such a sweet guy. Here, take the fob, take it out for a ride, come back when you're comfortable, let us know what you think. And Tim and I were sold, man. What a great vehicle, what a great buying experience. And I'm not just blowing smoke because they're a sponsor, but because they've been so cool to us over the years, it's like, well, let's see what they have to offer. It was better than anything else. And we did do some shopping around online. It was by far the best deal that we found out there. So,
yes, that's what I've been saying for years. Bettenhausen will take care of you like they took care of Leslie and Tim. That's not because they're part of the GarrForce inner circle here. That's how they treat everybody. I've talked to other customers and they love the experience. And this car that you got will last you a long time, even though it's a used vehicle. It's a one owner before you vehicle.
We got the Carfax report. We got the whole lowdown on it. And like I said, it's just pristine. It's so well cared for. On top of that, they had a wagon full of candy. So my husband was able to get his Twizzler fix taken care of while we were there. Everything about it was just a great experience.
A wagon full of candy. America, #1. And here are other reasons why we are #1, because we have roast to order coffee and tea. And I want to bring up a picture here. This is what Mike Mascow has set up now in his breakfast nook, along with his roast to order cups. There's the GarrForce mug, proudly displayed. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. Hey, Father's Day, and your father's a coffee or tea drinker, probably more of a coffee drinker. How about getting roast to order coffee for him as a Father's Day gift? I don't know if it'll get there by Sunday. I don't know. It could. I know he sent my coffee lickety split, and I'm enjoying decent, great coffee instead of that whatever I was drinking before. It's spelled, the old coffee starts with an S, ends with an L. Swill. That was bad. Bad coffee was bad.
That vacuum container too, you should get one of those when you order your coffee because it keeps it so super fresh. I mean, it's arriving super fresh, but then that keeps it fresh for days and weeks to come too. Well, you're the one who pointed out the stuff on the store shelves is
6 months to a year old, Mike said.
Yeah, great.
I don't know. I just got it because I got a coffee, and then I meet Mike, and I go, thank you, Jesus, for bringing Mike into my life. There's the way to order roast, the order.shop. And they use organically grown beans. He showed us a couple of weeks ago the beans that he uses, and the other beans that are out there. No, don't like those other beans. We like the roast to order beans. All right. Thank you, Mike, for coming on board. And the economy. I know it's bumpy. There's a lot of goo out there, and the prime has been raised, and that means mortgages are more expensive. David, I don't want to keep drumming this in because I'm sure you're thinking, well, you already said that, but he said that months ago. It's in the threes. If you're ready to go, do not hesitate, because this thing is very volatile. And here we are. What is it, in the fives?
I've heard in some places it's in the sixes.
Yeah. See, David knows. He has some kind of real estate crystal ball, and he wants to share that information with you. He'll do it for a free consultation, and then hopefully you'll do business with him and his team. There are the numbers, 855-56-DAVID. And I love David because I've known him a long time, and he's good. He's so good. And a mortgage, a refi, all that stuff, that's serious business. You call the bank, and you're probably interrupting them planning their lunch. And then after about 10 minutes, nah, we can't give you a loan. Okay. Don't waste your time with that. All right. Okay. I think we're going to do the Wisconsin report, and then we'll talk with Shaheen. Ryan, are you ready to report?
I am. I don't have a recorded one this week. We're going to do a little bit of live, but everybody, if you want to bring up that image, Keith, I think everybody coming out of the pandemic has the right idea, like what we do here, drink. So this is in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, the largest Wisconsin self-serve tap room. There's 50 different taps there. Then they're all, you can see the little screens there. They're all digitally controlled. So you can choose drinks by alcohol volume, by taste, by all of that. So that's opening in Lake Geneva.
Okay. I don't want to pee on their parade, but that those sinks look just like the urinals. Although I think they changed them at Wrigley Field in Chicago. I don't know if they still have those stainless steel ones. I think they remodeled the bathrooms. I haven't been there in a while, but I don't know. Even if you didn't know, doesn't it? Okay. And do you want the public touching that? Are they going to? Oh, geez, this is
just like the drinking fountains, Gary.
I'm like Rain Man, and I've been told I'm getting on an airplane. I see so much that I can't deal with.
Could you just hook up a hose and just keep drinking and peeing and like do a circular deal there? But
I know what they're going for.
Next,
am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, I don't think.
No.
And if they want to be a sponsor, I'll clean all this up for them. That's my
absolutely.
That's my wish and promise. I get it. It's just that you got a lot of people touching stuff now, and in this post-pandemic world. Geez.
Maybe Dieter's been there. You know, it's in Lake Geneva. It's by his house. So
the snowmaker, maybe he can report and call me a liar and a buffoon for saying what I said. I'm just the first look at it. I just see things.
By the way, we're probably going to have to get Dieter back on the show here because I've been following him on Facebook, and I gather based on the comments, other people have too. I think he adopted a raccoon.
And he made a swimming pool for it when it was hot.
What?
And it even had like little floaties in it.
You're kidding.
No.
Okay, I will get a hold of Dieter and find out.
Because he doesn't have enough on his plate already. I'm making rain. I'm making snow. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were leading to, and Dieter, he adopted a cat or a dog or a kid, a raccoon. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And the second one, since Leslie last week had talked about Guinness World Records with the banana stand. Well, this is at the Sprecher Root Beer company in Milwaukee. They're going to try to break a Guinness World Record in August by giving as many free root beer floats out. So
that looks good.
They're trying for that. I looked up what do you think a 12-pack of Sprecher root beer in the cans go for?
A 12-pack.
12-pack.
And this is a famous brand there, right?
It is, and it's a pretty kind of local niche brand.
Well, by the way you set that up, I'm going to have to go high. $20.
No. Leslie?
7.
32?
No.
12-pack.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go get your free ones. I guess that's what I learned out of that. I'll go get my free mug
that's
of it.
what, about $2 something a can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I was surprised.
Yeah, because you can get what 12
A&W
Cokes for probably $6-7, right?
Yeah.
So are we watering down the Guinness World Records these days? I mean, in the past, you had to grow 3-foot long fingernails, or you had to be 8 feet tall, or something like that, or, have some kind of growth sticking out of your head. But now, oh no, that was Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yes.
But anyway, now anybody comes up with anything and it's like, well, what's the previous record? Well, there is none. You just made this shit up and we're going to send somebody out.
It's a self-generating situation where it's kind of, you do it and then we'll call it a record and then we all are happy about it.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see something where next year somebody's going to try and break this, but
no. And I like when people break their own records. We had that recently. Some guy did something and he broke it by many hours or whatever it was. And I said, why do you break your own record? Why don't you wait and see if anybody challenges it and leave it?
Well, and that's a guy, and we're not supposed to bust his chops because he always does it to raise awareness for STEM studies, science, technology, engineering, math. But it's okay, dude, sit down on your hands for a few.
Yes, like kids should when that doll is in the tub, like you said. It's not for kids. Sit on your hands.
This is for adults.
Adults only.
Because your daddy's going to sit on those hands. Okay, Dieter's checking in. It's Club Rocky.
Yes, the raccoon's name's Rocky, I believe. So he's made this Club Rocky, as I said, with the swimming pool, and there's a whole thing on Facebook with the raccoon.
Dieter, if you could run vid on that and send it to me, I'll play it as soon as I get it.
Yeah,
May I point out that just a couple of weeks ago, I had 2 raccoons with distemper die within feet of my house. Yeah. I hope you're being really, really careful. And I don't want to disparage Rocky if he is a fine little raccoon, but please be careful.
Okay. All right, Dieter, it's your call if you want to send vid of what you've done with this raccoon. Okay.
That's all I got, Gary.
That's all right. That was fine. And what we're going to do here is we'll talk to Shaheen and then we'll give away the condom and the inflatable girl. Okay. After this piece with Shaheen. Like my next guest on is when America is bitch slapping itself, mostly from within. I have somebody here who can give me fresh optics because they came from another country. And that would be Shaahin Cheyene. Shaheen, welcome.
Thanks, Gary. America number one. Number one.
Number one. La, 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 la. Hey, this man has been described as the Willy Wonka of Generation X. That's what I'm setting the table with here. And I want to add another title before I tell everybody what you've done. The Wolf of Wilshire Boulevard. Put that on your resume.
There you go. Okay, cool. You said it, not me, but I like it.
Let me give you some of the backstory, ladies and gentlemen. Shaheen and his family emigrated from Iran in the late 70s. You were a baby when that happened, right?
Yeah. Some days I feel like I'm still a baby, but I was about 4 or 5 years old back then, Gary.
Okay, I'm asking for optics of when you came to America, and you came to America with your parents because what was going on in Iran?
What was the Iranian Revolution, the fall of the Shah of Iran, the beginning of the current theocracy that's happening.
And your recall of it was obviously through the lens of a 3 or 4 year old. What did your parents tell you about it?
My parents were Persian Jews. They had the generation before them that had lived through the Holocaust, and they were concerned that something similar could potentially happen to the Jews in Iran. There was hummings of that, and seeing that in the previous World War, in fact, the Shah was on the side of the Nazis. It didn't look good for the Jews. So my folks, with me in tow, decided, hey, we're going to bail and go to the United States, greatest country in the world, to seek our fame and fortune.
boom, there goes the dynamite. Because I was going to say, well, why didn't they pick Italy or Germany? No, Germany and who knows? Okay, why not some other country? But America is America, and you've been here now since you were 3 or 4 and enjoyed tremendous success. And that's what I like about people who have come from these other countries, and we kick this country around every now and then. And I'm always cheerleading, going, wait a minute, find another country that offers this. And you're living proof of that, Shaheen, because let's tell people what you've done when you got here. Did you leave home in your teens, and it was your mid-teens, right? You were 15?
Yeah. When we came here, I looked around me. We picked a neighborhood. My folks, worked hard. My dad worked odd jobs at a pizza place, at the dry cleaners, gathered every cent that he could, and they bought a home, which you could do. It was much easier to buy a home back then in the early 80s. And they bought a home in an up-and-coming area of Los Angeles called Pacific Palisades, and it started blowing up, started gentrifying very quickly. And I noticed all this wealth growing up around me, all these rich kids and people with fancy cars and fancy lifestyles. And I was still this poor Iranian kid, but we were living in the midst of this. And I wanted access to that wealth. I wanted that American dream that I was promised, but there was no path for me to that. So by the time I was 15, I made a move. I decided, hey, I don't know what the future holds, but I'm going to go out there and make it, because if I can make it here, that's going to be the true mark.
What was your reason to leave home at 15, though? Why did you have to leave at that age?
Well, I think by the time you reach your teens, or at least by the time I did, I should say, I had a very clear idea of the wealth that I wanted to create and what I wanted to do. And my folks weren't on the same page. The schools weren't on the same page. Public schools in LA sucked. They probably still do. And I needed to get out there and to start. I wanted to start. And the only way I could do it for me and my personality style was to burn my ships. And that's what I had to do.
And where do you go at 15? Where do you live? How do you support yourself?
I didn't. So I basically slept on the beach. And then I figured out very quickly that brokers would show these luxury apartments that were being put up. It was a building boom back then in the early 90s by that stage. And there was hundreds of these apartments that were empty and 6 months, 8 months away from being finished. And I would put on a shirt and I would go to these things telling them I'd be interested for my folks. And then I would learn the lock codes on where they put the keys for other agents to see. And I would sneak in the middle of the night, sleep in a luxury apartment, sometimes no power, sometimes no water. And then I'd pack my sleeping bag up and I'd be out by the morning, and it was glorious.
Did you drop out of school?
I did. Yeah. School was a waste of time for me. And I feel, look, I've changed my mind about it a little bit. I think some people, right? We need people that cut people open to go to school. We need people that are building those rockets and that kind of thing to have a formal education. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be successful in the world of business, I feel that traditional school, at least I should say, has very little to offer in that way.
When you were in school and then in general, how were you treated as an Iranian immigrant in this country?
Well, are you talking about when they threw rose petals at my feet as I walked in? Because that was the impression. I thought, man, this is going to be great. People want to be cultured and inclusivity, and we've got all this amazing food and thousands of years of Persian culture. This is going to be awesome. And we walked into, my first day of school, and I was like, came home pretty much bloody at 5 years old, just completely beat up. And that led to, probably about 8 to 10 years of just solidly getting my ass kicked until I discovered martial arts and couldn't take it anymore. But we were in Los Angeles at a time where there was already racial tension that was high with racial subgroups that were there before us. You had Hispanics that were there, treated as second-class citizens. You had the Black community there, treated as second-class citizens. And then you had Asian Americans there as well. I mean, I'm technically Asian, who were treated as second-class citizens. And people didn't really get along. And so then here comes this inflow of Iranian people from the Middle East during Iran-Contra, Oliver North, all that stuff. All you see on the news is bad stuff, terrorism, all that stuff. And now I'm going to a school where with the rest of these kids, and we were at the bottom of the totem pole, and I got several ass kickings to prove it.
When you got your feet firmly implanted in some kind of business, what was it that first, I'm getting a paycheck, I don't have to sleep on the beach or in a vacant apartment?
So I had a lot of shitty jobs, a lot, too many to even recall. I worked at a copy store. I worked at a chicken restaurant. I worked at, anywhere that I could to gather up some money. It never lasted very long because I'm highly unemployable, as you know. Lasted, a few days at most, got a little bit of money to get some food, and then I was out. And then I found a mentor. I got involved in the electronic music scene, the rave scene. I started doing raves. And I noticed through the rave scene that the people making the money there were the drug dealers. So I decided to develop a natural drug. I didn't know how to do it, but I figured it out. And I put it on the market through the drug dealers. I said, hey guys, here's a way where you can sell a legal version of the most popular party drug of the time, which was ecstasy. By the way, I write about this in my book, Billion, How I Became King of the Thrill Pill Cult. Get it on Amazon, Stitcher, Spotify. You can listen to the first chapter on those, and the audiobook is on Audible for anybody who wants to. It's called Billion, How I Became King of the Thrill Pill Cult.
I was building to that, Shaheen. That was my reveal, but thank you for getting that in there now.
Yeah, and there's a series coming out now. It's going to be on TV, and a major motion picture that's in the works as well about the story. But yeah, so basically I invented this drug, and we went from basically less than zero to creating $1 billion of revenue by the time I was still in my late teens, early 20s.
Okay. You come up with Herbal Ecstacy. What's the first step of packaging, making it, getting out the product to the clubbers? How did you start? What's the first step?
Well, you got to get a drug-addled girlfriend, which I did. And you got to make sure that her dad is some kind of a big wig in some accounting firm or something. Then you got to convince her to let you in as the dad leaves to work and to cook up the pills in the kitchen and to call all her friends and to try the different batches on the different kids in the neighborhood, teenagers. Then once you get a formula that works, go to the biggest club that you can find, walk up to the biggest drug dealer, pray that he doesn't kill you, and ask that he sells your pills. And once that takes off, then you just continue through brick and mortar. We didn't have the internet at the very beginning, so we did a lot of mail order, 800 numbers, that kind of thing. Seems like a pretty easy formula.
And the government said, okay, when you put it on store shelves?
It's surprising. Also through rose petals in my feed. It was shocking. They were not happy, but they tried to pigeonhole us. They said, this is a drug, call the DEA. And DEA came and said, guys, selling vitamins, this isn't a drug. They said, call the FDA. And the FDA came in and said, he is selling vitamins. There's nothing we can do. We don't regulate that. Then they called the FTC. They said, he's making claims. And the FTC came in and they passed some, things that we had to agree to. But there was never really any significant harm to anybody from taking our product. In fact, quite the opposite. A lot of people stopped using really bad stuff that was bad for them and started taking our herbal supplements and kind of got their life together. So it was actually a very positive force for a lot of people, and it became a community. And once you sell $1 billion worth of anything, you start developing raving fans. And we were doing events, and we were going all over the world. And I was on every talk show, Montel Williams. We had, basically every talk show possible we were on. I was on the prime time with Sam Donaldson, the great reporter, and a lot of the stuff people can find on YouTube. But it was a super fun time, a super exciting time. Again, anyone that's interested, check out the book, Billion, How I Became King of the Thrill Pill Cult. I think I get all of 42 cents for every copy. So
wait a minute. You sold $1 billion worth of Herbal Ecstacy. How much of that did you bank? You don't need to sell the book, do you?
No, I don't need to sell the book.
But it's great. I got to tell you, the book, this is one hell of a ride. You have really lived a couple lifetimes already. So again, how much did you bank out of the 100 or the billion?
$2 billion.
Yeah, that's how drug dealers work.
I truly did. If you're talking about in value, in dollars, look, I've rebuilt myself so many times in this life, and I've had so many instances where I've gone down to very little and then rebuilt. I invented all of what's digital vaporization technology, the front runner of what all the vape technology came out. That company went public. I sold just before. I've done a lot in my life, and I've never been one to chase money or dollars or dollar signs or any of that. Money has always been a natural side effect of the work that I do, and I do it for a lot of reasons, but I never do it for just the money.
What is the status of Herbal Ecstacy? Is it still around?
Yeah, so it's still on the market. It's a shadow of what it was back in the 1990s, primarily because of restrictions of ingredients. But we've got a killer new formula that's going to be coming out soon. So that's kind of the plan. I mean, the plan is to do a relaunch and to partner with a Fortune 50 or Fortune 500 who really wants to rev it up again and renew it with a new formula and put it out during the release of the film and the series, which I think is going to be the move with that. That's what I'm most excited about.
When is all that coming out?
I think in about a year. The series will be out. The feature will probably be 2 to 3 years out. And so we got a bit of time, Gary.
What happened to your drug-addled ex-girlfriend?
No idea. No idea.
Okay.
I have been out of touch. Look, I don't espouse the use of drugs. I discourage people from using drugs. But, I think also in this country, there's a lot of misinformation. So I think people should educate themselves. Not all drugs are created equal. Ecstasy isn't the same as what's flooding our streets right now. Basically, like you said, bitch slapping our country. Unfortunately, what we see out happening in places like Los Angeles and unfortunately some other parts of the country as well now. But, drugs have a wide range of effects. And I think people should educate themselves on that and make educated use of drugs. Because the problem with drugs isn't that. As far as the people from my past, I'm in touch with a few of them, a handful of them. But in general, that was many girlfriends ago, Gary. Not bragging, but it was a lot of girlfriends ago.
Okay, speaking of drugs and the attitude towards them, pot was vilified for many decades, and then suddenly, if not suddenly, but it seems like all of a sudden, where it was starting to get, I guess I just said something twice, it started to get legalized because they looked at the revenue stream that it provides and went, oh, maybe it's not as bad as we think. And now we're seeing this same tune to psychedelics. And that's starting to erupt a bit. And it's just interesting how what was once a vice is now just everyday stuff.
Yeah. Like lawyers, like accountants, and this is kind of a weird analogy, but follow me here. Drugs are just a tool. And if you use them as such, same with food, it's just a tool. And if you know how to direct it and you know how to use it to achieve what you want to achieve in life, and you have good view of who you are and where you want to go, they can have a great degree of effectiveness. But the problem is, particularly in this country, we can't do anything in fucking moderation. Nothing is in moderation. Everything goes over the top. You legalize weed, and all of a sudden, everyone's smoking it everywhere like 50 times a day. Like, what the fuck? Like, do you really need to be smoking weed while you're having your espresso? And my 8-year-old walks up, and I gotta give him that whole explanation. And then, like, you open the window of the car, the car next to you, and this cloud of like vape comes out. Like, does it really have to go there? Can we just be a little bit more subtle with our use of this kind of stuff? I mean, look, from the dawn of time, people have been using drugs, and people will never stop using drugs. It's part of the human story, part of the human experience. They found those fucking cavemen that are like frozen, and they've got a little satchel around their neck with some, different kinds of drugs, tobacco, whatever, right? The forerunners to ayahuasca. They found all that stuff. So we know it's a part of human story, a part of the human story.
Yes.
To ingest substances to broaden our view. And that's okay. Now, if I'm talking to someone who's an entrepreneur, a young budding entrepreneur, I would say stay away from all that shit because it doesn't make you a better person and it doesn't make you a better entrepreneur. And I really wish in my life I hadn't done any of that stuff, honestly. And I was one of the first people to do ayahuasca and go to the jungle and do that with the tribes in the jungle, and we contacted uncontacted tribes, and I've done all of that. And I did it to get the experience in my 20s. I was never the type of person to do uppers or downers, but only hallucinogens that I felt could enhance or bring something to my life. And while I feel like they did, I feel like I could be way further ahead in my life as a business person and as an entrepreneur if I hadn't done that. And truthfully, from my heart, that's what I would tell anybody who's looking to have a life of great achievement and entrepreneurship. I don't think it moves you forward. There's a lot of people who disagree with me. I'll get hate mail about this, but it's truly just my opinion.
I will piggyback your comment there about taking drugs. It has been labeled by doctors or scientists or somebody along the way as the fourth drive: sex, hunger, thirst, self-intoxication.
Sure.
It's in our DNA somewhere. Some manifest it more than others, obviously, but it's something that's always going to be around. And we want to make sure that it's done in moderation, if at all, but that's the deal.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And you mentioned also, boy, I got a bunch of stuff to ask you. Talking about misinformation, Shaheen, we had neighbors that came from Iran and we became very good friends with them. And I had to ask them, I said, what do people in Iran think about America today? And they said, it's not what the news always portrays. All Iranians do not hate Americans. You must have family still there, right?
America number one.
Okay.
What can
or
I
do
what
you?
can I,
I don't know if you must, but do you? And what is the attitude of Iran to America?
I can't speak for Iranians in Iran because I'm not an Iranian in Iran. I'm an Iranian here in America. And look, you've got a very wide range of people, but you're talking about a very old civilization. You're talking, in fact, most people don't know this. The oldest Jews recorded in history actually came from Persia, the ancient Persian Empire. So you've got a very, very sophisticated culture, very sophisticated and complicated people, very sophisticated and complicated culture, foods, language, all that stuff. And America is a new country. It's a new experiment. America's only been going for how long? So you look at these people and they I think for people in all places, I'm sure people in China have a similar attitude when they look at Americans, where they go, man, these people look down at us. They look down on us to a certain degree. But really, if you look back in history, this is just a blip. America has not been proven yet. It's the greatest experiment of our time is this country, and that's what makes it great. Right? What makes it great is the diversity. What makes it great is the opportunity. What makes it great is this other experiment in capitalism, which is amazing, which is incredible, which is creating wealth in a capacity that has never been done before in human history. And in fact, a wealth distribution, I would argue, that hasn't been paralleled ever in human history, even going way, way back. So when you talk about what do people in Iran think of America, it's all that stuff. But look, they're aspirational. They want the American dream more than anybody. And they are very, most Iranians have American friends. Most of them are very keen on the American culture. But Iranians also are very cynical people. So we've been put through the ringer many times. And as Iranians, we kind of take a very cynical approach to things like politics and the like.
What are you doing now with Amazon? You're the lead coach at Amazon Mastery. What is that?
Yeah, so I've got a course for anybody who's interested, fbasellercourse.com. You can book a time with me if you want to talk about starting an Amazon business. And basically, we coach people on how to create these Amazon businesses that create recurring revenue. So we teach them how to get out of their 9-to-5 jobs and create these businesses where you can do it from anywhere and have somebody buying product from you on Amazon all day and all night.
Talk about a success story, Jeff Bezos, huh? He's selling used books in his garage, and now he's either the richest or second richest guy on the planet, depending on the day.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? That's the image that they show you of him. But Bezos was never selling books in his garage. Bezos worked for Hutton, one of the biggest firms in Silicon Valley. Bezos was one of the smartest guys in the room always, and he had access to Silicon Valley capital before anybody else, before all these unicorns and these companies were getting billion-dollar valuations. And he knew that it was all about customer acquisition and about being able to be first to market with this marketplace. And books were just an in. But the story they show you is that spray painted sign behind him and the cinder blocks and the door. And hey, this is a really gritty guy. That's not that guy. That guy is the smartest guy in the room. He's always been the smartest guy in the room. They tried to keep him. His boss at the investment firm he was at told him, hey, this Amazon thing is a great idea, but you know what? Do it within our company. And Bezos gave him the middle finger and went off and did it himself. So when you look at guys like Jeff Bezos, you look at guys like Elon Musk, they're wealthy. They're the richest guys in the world because they're fucking a whole lot smarter than the rest of us. And people don't understand this and they can't say it because it sounds arrogant, but they are. And that dude, just mind-blowing the wealth that he's created, not just for himself, but for millions of other sellers on the Amazon platform. And if you can take off your cynical hat for people that are listening to this and get into the game, there is still so much opportunity. In fact, I've got a 1-hour course that I'll give for free to anybody listening to the Garry Meier Show. Use the code COCKTAIL and you will get my $200 course for free. Reach out to me. I'll give my email out if that's okay with you, Garry.
Yes.
Excuse me. darkzess@gmail.com. That's darkzess@gmail.com. Email me and I'll give you the $200 course for free, teaching you A to Z everything about Amazon. Just mention the code COCKTAIL.
Thank you. And I think I learned something. Is it Bezos or how are you pronouncing his name?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I think I just say Jeff Bezos, but
Bezos. Okay.
I've heard it both ways.
All right.
I like to refer to him as Dad.
Yeah, I wish. Wow. Shaheen, you really have done what I think I needed and a lot of people needed, is to pump us up because we are going through these storm clouds all over the place, or at least it appears that way. And you just did a nice rah-rah for America, and I appreciate that. Again, the book is what?
Billion, How I Became King of the Throw Pill Cult.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just witnessed the Willy Wonka of Generation X on the Garry Meier Cocktail Show. Shaheen, always a pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine, Garry. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Listener Lynn, viewer Lynn said, geez, you sound like a fanboy. Well, I like guys that make me feel better in general, or women too. It's not a gender thing. It's anybody who can make me feel better. And this country has been really slapped around within. We're slapping ourselves around. Wait a minute, stop. We have something here. Let's just calm down and enjoy. All right.
We have guests like this on, and it just makes me want to go out and start a business and not have to live motivated by money and then I have a couple of these, like he says, and I lose all that motivation. Right now.
That a girl. And that is also American. La, 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 la. Number one. I'm the same way. There's a Luxardo cherry with my name on it on the bottom of this, and I'm swimming towards it, and I'll be there in a couple of minutes. But I'm wondering about the girls when he was testing the ecstasy at the ex-girlfriend now, her house, and some batches didn't make it. I wonder what those kids look like. That this is a bad batch. What happened? to them.
But
Wow.
based on what he's saying, these are vitamins. So, how bad could it be? Maybe a little abdominal distress, but it doesn't seem like anybody was seriously hurt in the making thereof. Yeah.
Okay. He
Well,
said don't do
I want to
drugs in
believe
the
that.
end. He said don't do
There you go.
drugs, right? He said I wish I
Right.
didn't do them. So there, don't do drugs. They're bad. All right.
They're
Let's
bad.
give away that condom and that inflatable woman or whatever you do with it. All right. Hit it, Keith. Sandy Lee. Sandy is the winner.
Sandy.
All right, Sandy, you can get a hold of me via Facebook and send me a message with your address, and then I'll get that to Leslie, and she will send that out. All right.
Get them in the mail right away. You betcha.
All right, that's it. Happy Father's Day weekend if you're a father, and I hope you enjoyed today's program. Now, last week was cigarettes, this week drugs. Pretty soon we're going to have to go to another vice. Is it prostitution? What is it? What's the next vice?
We always like the lottery stories, so there could be some of that thrown in there.
That's not a vice, though. I mean,
For some people, I think it is.
Yeah, that's
isn't
true.
it?
Gambling. You're okay. Gambling.
Gambling.
Las Vegas gambling.
Gambling.
Yeah. All right, everybody. It is time to take the cannoli that's coming down the aisle. It's complimentary. Look at that. It's delicious. What about the schnauzer, Leslie?
Treat the schnauzer to a little herbal ecstasy, but in moderation.
In
right?
moderation.
Isn't that what everything's in moderation?
Very nice. Fetch on all fours. You know the routine here. 3 in the green. Gear is down. Flaps are down. The voice of the globe. We'll talk to you on Monday. We have landed.
If you like that, I got other stuff I think you're going to like. This is the GarrForce.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And please, please, please tell your friends and family to like and subscribe too.
All right. Yeah.
More eyeballs. It's a good thing.